Hello, very happy that you have found and tuned in into this brief video message from my working practice Energy for One World. First of all, and of course, I wish you a very happy, healthy and prosperous 2019 with peace and all good. Secondly, let me briefly take a moment of your time and share with you what I see on the agenda on energy architecture, climate and sustainable development for the year to come. What the invitation is to all of us, energy men and women, in the north and the south, the east and the west, and to come to grasp with. In a little different way, we can state that the year 2019 is a stepping stone somewhere between year 2015 and onwards till 2020, 2030, 2050, if you like some milestone years or dates to come. Year 2030 is and was the year agreed to attain sustainable development or sustainable societies to all. Well, you don't need to be a rocket scientist, and based on some real evident facts, trend lines, geopolitics of emotions, behaviors, and economic energy sector developments over 2018, to understand that the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030 are still very much a pipe dream, a pie in the sky, in the north and in the south, in the east and in the west. At the conclusion of 2018, my practice shared some evident views by global experts and institutes on the state we see ourselves today in. Very much simplified, we could say that 2080 did not shine nor excel in the progression of sustainable energy economy development, nor that we evidenced our true will or wish to rebalance the direction of our human development and our economies with nature. Again, very much simplified, we could state that national, state, and corporate interests and economic goals, rivalries, and strife have taken priority over the transition towards true sustainable development and human dignity and respect. Whereas the G20 government leadership gathered in Argentina and the climate leadership gathered in Katowice, both events may have just judged as events holding it together. An appeasement, but not a strong sign or demonstration of our can-do. Let me share you three little examples of what we observe and mean we can do so much better today and tomorrow. Let me start in Northwest Europe, where I'm presently based. In Northwest Europe, we see ample government rumble, programs and noises to steer their societies and their economies towards sustainability and attainment of the Paris Agreement. Sad reality and fact is that these transition programs are narrowly minded framed, made up by the defending incumbents, locally based, and with a one-dimensional change outlook only. In addition, they tend to steer the attainment of change on policy instruments such as CO2 tax, ETS, CCS, and seek this redistribution of cost and responsibility throughout the national value chains. A clearly missed opportunity in much of these national accords and programs is that these national programs miss a regional or international perspective, do not cross borders, and hardly integrate a more regional view on advancing the electricity grids beyond 20% of primary energy use, nor to advance and accelerate the transition and new vision on the present intense petroeconomies and industries. In essence, a lot of noise and rumble, but hardly accords that truly shine an example and leadership of true global change. In the sector of the oil and gas economies, earlier a vice president of an international oil company shared with me, today the business model of finding, extracting, producing and bringing to market of new oil and gas from Tanzania to Venezuela to the Far East are still very much in the same way as we did it 25 or 30 years ago. Nothing really has changed. Well, again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist if our wish is to reduce the petro intensities of our economies and our wish is to build better energy architectures for our homes and cars. It's not difficult to realize that better integration of the full energy economy value chains is a must if our desire is to do so. And let me take as last example the international trade relations. Both the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement are meaningless if in our existing trade and trade relations We are not mending our present ways of selling and promoting intense farming, intense consumption, intense cities and industries, and intense energy architectures. Based on now 10 years in this consulting practice, including our participation in outreach, executive energy education, and workshops, I know we can do so much better. And I know that we can get at this rather diligently and with good care. In fact, the international toolbox of available solutions is filled to the brim, both in hardware, hardwired solutions that we can make and deploy into real energy architecture solutions, as well in the more software or say soft-skilled sided business, organizational, and cultural change. The sad reality is we hardly seem to use this toolbox. Ultimately, it's all to do about a better awareness on the path of our shared future, the quality of our leadership, our abilities and capabilities of our leaderships to truly manage the transition and change in our economies, in the energy architecture, and in the trade and trade relations that we seek and need. Great leadership in government and in the sector will recognize that our real invitation to us is to make ourselves and our organizations pupils again, make ourselves fresh, imaginative, learning, and creative, refocus and reorganize, and learn in each other to truly care. Care for the common home, care for the other, in balance with the care for our own organization, country, and community. Care for nature, care for the human development overall. To align and tune these common goals and needs with individual and local organization, business, and country goals and directions of development. And that's quite an exciting journey, and it's quite, of course, a leadership challenge to seek in the varied cultural and development stages of our economies these paths. To realize every day small and big steps in our organizations, in our businesses, and in our ways forward every day. As such, the invitation on our horizon is not to attain some lofty climate target goals, as they are only one-dimensional and do not touch the essence of this all. The real invitation is to walk in more beauty, to change ourselves, to be a bit holistic, allow human life, the other, and our nature to foster and grow. I invite you to look at our Energy for One World Year 2019 practice services and our offerings. And you'll see and find some great background and examples of can-do and of a little different approach to our change agenda that you will attain from the present straitjacketed, over-bureaucratized policy-making, organization, government administration, and consultancy practices. I wish you a very well new year. I wish you very well on that journey. I thank you. Thank you for your time.